Alright guys, so in today's video I thought we would take a look at just some starter tips based on the amount of questions that I've been receiving and the questions that I'm seeing in the OOC chat within game. I thought there were some things that we could maybe bring to light that would help people out who are just starting, who haven't maybe played quite yet, or who are looking forward to playing with the next playtest. There should be some useful tips here. Let's go ahead and get started. When you first start out, bag space is a big issue. They don't start you with any bags or a backpack or anything like that. Oftentimes your class starter quest may offer a bag where you need to combine items. What you can do is you can keep that bag and not turn in the quest. That way you have, sometimes the bag is more valuable than whatever the quest is going to give you, in most cases I'd say. But there's also the Shifty Gnome in the Western Gate Newbie Yard. In addition to your class quest, if it offers a container, you can hail the Shifty Gnome and then /say I'm interested, which will have him hand you a pack. So if you open up here, he give you his Shifty's scrap pack. Now this is intended for you to put items in here and combined, which will make a quest item, which you give it back to him. This one in particular is repeatable. Not all quests are repeatable. This one is repeatable. So you can do the quest, give it to him, and then get another bag afterwards. Or you can just keep the bag like this, and now you have a free bag that you can use to collect more loot, in turn to earn more money. So another good tip is retail arbitrage. So you can see here, actually, on this vendor here, the Shifty Gnome, it's a greedy vendor. You can see a bunch of gear here. And let's try to keep everything simple. But let's go with the stuff that he's selling for 25 copper, like the tattered tunic. Let's keep it simple. So let's do a buckler, which is 25 copper. Let's do a bow, it's 25 copper. And let's do, there's a lot to choose from here, but I'm trying to keep it simple. And we'll take the tattered rawhide boots, 25 copper. And there's another bow, but let's take it, I guess. One thing to be careful of is when you are buying stuff for retail arbitrage, watch your weight, because going over weight, you will run slowly. So then you just take that. That Shifty Gnome actually is pretty loaded with gear. But we just grabbed a few things for an example. The bow went into my inventory there on my range slot, but you can just run these to the appropriate vendor. Cooking supplies go to the cook. Leather goes to the leather. Weapons go to the weapons. Cloth goes to the cloth, so on and so forth. But right in here, there is a quartermaster who buys a lot of things. So we look at the quartermaster. Those bows that were 25 copper, you can sell them for 37 copper. So you make 12 copper on each of the bows. The same with the buckler. 12 copper there. The same with the, we made sure to buy everything that was 25 copper so that you can easily see what I'm talking about here. And so we bought these for 25 copper as well, and we'll sell those all for 37 copper. So as you can see there, we offloaded everything we had for 37 copper. So we made 12 copper on each, and yes, granted, we are talking about copper here, but when you're starting out a new character and you don't have any money, everything counts, everything helps, and that was very quick. How fast did we just make, 60 copper? Very quickly. And then you can rinse and repeat, and it's a percentage based. So the higher value the item you buy from the greedy vendors is, the higher you sell it for, the difference. So you can see there we gained about 50%, right? Because 50% of 25 is going to be 12 or 13. And 25 plus 12 is 37. So you're gaining about 50% value there. Now you go back and you can just rinse and repeat. You can just buy all this gear. Now the same goes for everything else. Same goes for the crocodile hides. In fact, this rattlesnake skin I bought from him for 57 copper. I'm gonna go sell it for 87 to the bag vendor. See, he'll buy it. He'll buy this rattlesnake skin for 35 copper. But if I go sell it to the bag vendor in town, he'll give me 87 copper for it. So that's the difference. And all of these fire beetle legs, the things that stack are really nice. I saw something. Low quality, oh, that's only 1 copper. It's only going to sell for 2 copper in town. But there's 17 of them. So you're gaining 1 copper. You can buy the whole stack by holding shift and clicking buy. I guess we'll do it just to show you. You just go like that. It buys the entire stack. Oh shit, I'm not going to be able to move. Well, that's just to show you. But now you can see that we have the whole stack of 17 here. Now it only sells for 1 copper. We're going to go ahead and take the L on that one. You can also do the same. You can shift click sell and it'll put it back on him. So I lost, I didn't lose anything. I bought it for 17 copper and I sold it for 17 copper. It's a minimum of 1 copper. So actually we didn't lose anything there. So that's great. But you can see the spider silk is 8. And just, you know, beware of stuff. Most skins and stuff are pretty light. Like the spider silk is light. The gear will weigh you down. But like I said, you want the higher value stuff or stuff that is stacked pretty high. And then you go and sell it to the correct vendor in town. And you can flip it and make some money. Like this right here, 35 copper for these tattered shoulders. We go sell that, you know, we'll be making 16 copper profit there. Anyways, enough to buy your starting spells, enough to get yourself some bags and all of that kind of stuff. And to be honest, I've been doing this a lot. And some items, every once in a while, I see this, it's like silver bullion coin or something like that. Every once in a while I come here and he's got like 5 of them on him. Now these are they cost me 3.5 silver to buy. So he has 5 of them on him. It's costing me quite a bit up front, but I go into town, I sell them to the smithing vendor. Smelting? I think I sell them to the smelting. Wow. Sell them to the smelting vendor for 5 silver a piece. So I'm gaining 1.5 silver per coin. So I show up, I see 5 of them, buy all 5, go inside, and boom, you make yourself 7.5 silver really, really quickly. Anyways, there's a bunch of these vendors around town. There are 5 different greedy vendors in town. There's this one. There's one in an alley in Night Market that only appears at night. There is one by the North Gate. There is one outside of the North Gate. And then there is one that is the greedy halfling or something like that, who is over in the Sojourners area. I'll show you these in a picture on a map. Some basics that I'd like to go over. Much like in real life, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. There's no compass, map, anything like that in the game. No location/lock. So you get around by knowing points of interest and different landmarks. So the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. If it's nighttime and you're looking up at the sky, what a beautiful skybox, by the way. If you see this Milky Way looking galaxy dealy here, this roughly goes from east to west. So if you look up and you look at that, then you can know one direction is east and one direction is west. So you can tell, you know, difference from north and south. So it's one way to do it. But one way to really know is to be aware of landmarks such as, you know, this castle up on here. Everybody has seen this that has played the game. And so if you know where you are, this is the West Gate. So it faces west. So you know that this landmark is to the west. And as long as you know that, if you can get anywhere from there. If you need to go north, you know to go that way. If you need to go south, you go that way. And if you need to go east, you run away from this. If you need to go west, you run towards it. So on and so forth. This dome in town is also a nice one. If you're out there in the darkness and you're trying to get home, try to see if you can find the big dome. And once again, east to west on the Milky Way. Every in-game hour is 3 real-life minutes. So an in-game day is 72 minutes of real-life time to get a day. You can tell what time it is. I see a lot of pretty basic questions, so I'm just going to go over a few basics that, you know, if you're an EQ player or other MMO player, maybe you know already, but /time is going to tell you what time it is in-game as well as real life. But you can also tell what I'm assuming is the month and then the day and what season it is. This is midsummer. It is summer. Because certain things will happen depending on seasons, depending on the weather effects. If there's a sandstorm, You know, maybe a certain rare spawn only spawns during sandstorms in this zone during a sandstorm at night. Something like that. And then that could trigger a certain rare spawn. In theory, these are things that are built into the game. The boat leaves the dock if you want to go to the elf town or back. I believe you take the Keeper's Blight exit. And I believe the boat shows up here in town every day at 7 a.m. I think it shows up at the furthest stop. I guess it would be 7 p.m. then, I'm thinking. So, the round trip of the boat is 72 minutes. This is what I've heard. I haven't actually timed it. Or, you know, it's a very long boat ride. I have a video showing some of the footage and just the ambiance. You can check that out if you want. But if you're looking to take the boat ride, this is what we've figured out so far. If you want to inspect somebody, click them and press the Y button by default, and you can inspect what gear they have. Another question I've seen a lot of actually is how do you see the stats on an item? You hover the mouse over it and hold the right click button. You have to hold the right click and it'll pop open a window and you can see the stats within the window. Something they added in this playtest, the July playtest, is if you open up your options, you can go here and in interface, you have the always show pop out stats. Now this here, you can do normal stats, which is this big window, which probably not too many people would like that window. You have none, this was the default, and then you have mini stats, which is this little window here, which gives you that XP bar, so that when you're playing the game, you're not constantly opening to look at your XP bar. It also shows you your weight, so you can tell your weight at all times, and these two are really important. Something that Class and Cool pointed out that I agree with is it would be cool. We have the large, we have the mini. It would be cool to have a tiny, if you want to call it that, where it's just the XP bar and the weight, and then you could put that somewhere like maybe down here on the bottom, because you know the stats you don't necessarily need. One thing nice about the stats being open though is you can't see it now because I'm full life and full mana, but you can see the server tick, so you can play the sit down server tick little mini game if you want to min max like that. Another thing is, let me pull the life bar out here, is if you hover your mouse over it and you middle click the mouse button, you can change it to different, oh, they have a mandrake. You can change it to different styles. So that's cool. That should also work with your inventory. It should. Let's see. Maybe not. I thought it might. But yeah, so you can cycle through different, for UI stuff. I guess there's also a basic one here. Nice and basic. Anyways, just little tips and tricks there. A lot of little questions. If you have any other questions, just put them down in the comments and I'll try to answer them the best I can. One thing I also should mention actually is that they added a gamma slider in the options here. Everybody's monitor is different. I like it to be dark because to me it's part of the gameplay, but if you're making a video or if you're streaming or if you just don't want to deal with it because it's not your thing, you can go to the gamma slider. You see how dark it is now, and you can increase the gamma. So then you can see now at nighttime it is brighter, and if you go ahead and turn the gamma back down to 50, which is normal, you can see it is now darker again. Now, I am in town, so there's a lot of light pollution going on, but as you know if you've played the game, if you're out in the middle of the desert with no lights or anything anywhere, you can barely see 5 feet in front of you, so it makes a gigantic difference. For trade skills, you want to go ahead and show up to the area in which your trade skill trainers are after you've trained the skill. You'll be able to find different receptacles or like tools near the area. You can see here we have a forge, and you can use this for all the different smelting. You have an anvil here, and you can craft different plate gear at the anvil, so on and so forth. But some trade skills also have a container that you can carry with you, such as a tailoring kit. And if you see on the tailoring kit, there's this little hammer on the side there. Now if you click that hammer, it'll open up and show you the different recipes, and you can use it to craft. Same goes with, say, a leather kit. Also has the hammer there. You can open it up. And then you can also use a cauldron. Some are placeable, and you can do alchemy there. And there's also like a mortar and pestle that you can have in your inventory, so on and so forth. If it is something like that, just be sure to look for the little tool here, and you can close it by clicking that as well. Alright, so one thing that you can do, now if you see where I am here, I am at the base of that big green, at night at least, it's glowing green. It's like a dungeon castle. And you can see here the dome that is in Night Harbor. So I'm all the way up against the cliff that this castle is on. Now I'm over here leveling, right? So one tip could be, I'm killing a bunch of undead humanoids. It's good to kill humanoids because they drop cloth scraps, leather scraps, and also cloth or leather gear, as well as weapons. So we'll knock all this out right here. So I've been farming the undead right here. There's just tons and tons of them. I think they're deeming it Undead Highway. And you can see that I've not only been getting some cloth and rawhide scraps from killing the undead, but they also drop a bunch of this gear. So one thing that I like to do, and it depends, I guess, for you, but what I'm getting at is I'm far from town. So since I'm way out here, I don't want to run back to town if I don't have to. But as you can see here, I'm overweight. I'm at 136 pounds out of 122. Now, maybe this is worse for me because I'm a plate-wearing class, and if you see here, my breastplate weighs 22 pounds. My two-handed sword, 22 pounds, I'm sorry, 10 pounds. My two-handed sword here weighs 13 pounds. My full set of plate weighs a lot, right? So I don't have a lot of wiggle room. So I'm out here, and as you can see, my bags aren't even full, but I have a lot of this gear, and I haven't even been looting the weapons. As you can see, I have 2 cracked staffs. That's another thing. Cracked staffs sell for 5 silver. They're the bugaboo when you're a lower level. So I do obviously pick up cracked staffs, but how do you get cracked staffs is by killing humanoids. They have a small chance of doing it. You can see them equipped it. It's either going to be a cracked staff or a 2-handed worn great staff, which is not what you want. You want the cracked staff, the one-handed one, right? Obviously, don't sell it to a greedy vendor. Now, the point of this is, in my bags down here, I have leatherworking kit and a tailoring kit. So this is my tailoring kit. This is my leatherworking kit. Now, what you can do with these, let me remove these bones, is you can have a seam ripper on you. And so I'm overweight here. You can see I'm at 136. Is what you can do is with the tailoring kit, you can grab the tattered cloth and you can scrap it, which is going to, as you can see in the chat box here, rewards you with this one, 2 cloth scraps. Now it's either random or depending on which slot it is on your body, like chest piece is going to give more than, say, a pair of gloves, something like that. So you can just continue to scrap all of this. And this one's rawhide, so then the rawhide would go in the leatherworking kit opposed to the cloth kit. So naturally do all of the leather at once. Oh, this is a shirt, sorry. These are shirts. So that's the one thing to pay attention to if you're having trouble, is if the slot is a shirt slot opposed to the chest slot, the shirts don't do anything. So that's actually just wasted weight. These are all cloth, so you can come over to the cloth and just start. And you can see my weight is dropping, right? As I'm doing this, slowly the weight is going down, pound here, pound there, and so on and so forth. One thing I have learned, though, is humanoids also drop a lot of copper. You can see my copper is up to 763 after spending some time here. And so the copper is going to weigh you down as well. And as you can see, I've turned all of that into these scraps. Now, it'll depend on what server you're on. I'm on Krivia, I guess, but a lot of people are paying 4 silver a stack for cloth scraps. Now, you could use them to trade skill yourself, but there's only so much time, and there's so many trade skills. I'm a plate wearer, and although you can make bags with cloth, I haven't worked on my tailoring. You gotta, you know, how much time do you want to spend on trade skills versus how much time do you want to spend in the world getting XP? That's up to you. But if you're not gonna use tailoring, you can sell the cloth scrap. So a stack of 20, that's 4 silver right there, to a player. And the reason cloth scraps are worth so much is because you can make bags from them. And like this backpack here is player made. 10 capacity, extra large. So you can put weapons and stuff into there. I am weighed up. I got some wood and stuff on me, and a lumberjack pouch and all of that. So I am still obviously overweight, but one thing that you can do to reduce that, now I'm overweight because I have like cracked staves on me. These weigh 7.5 pounds. You know, I know some people would say they've never found a cracked staff. They're just unlucky, but if you hang out here long enough, you will get cracked staves. Obviously, eventually you will have to go to town once you build up your copper, and if you get a couple of cracked staves. But the point is, you can stay out longer in the world by condensing your gear down so that it doesn't weigh on you. So those are some of the quick tips that if I would have known of, the sooner the better. It would have helped my life out a lot if I would have known those right off the bat. So hopefully you learned something here today. But if you do have any other questions, go ahead and drop them down in the comments. Either I can answer them or maybe some of our fellow players can answer them for you. And until next time, we'll see you in the next one.